Common Sense TV. Thanks for tuning in. So today we're going to talk about the economy and what's going on, what I believe is going on with the economy and what the media is not telling you. So first off, let's get right to it. Right now we're having this government shutdown. It's lasted now for over a month now. So this just shows the dysfunction within our own country. Total dysfunction. America is pretty much decaying from within. Democrats, Republicans. It's a mess in Washington, D.C. right now. And on top of that, America's growth, as far as our GDP, has gone down. So our growth is shrinking, our debt is rising, and that's never a good. That's never a good situation. And another problem is that the dollar is weakening, and it's weakening because as China grows, the dollar inevitably will get weaker and weaker and weaker. And the reason why the dollar is so strong because the petrodollar. Most people, I guess, some realize, some don't, but all oil is purchased in dollars. So when most people need to buy oil for their country, let's say if you're in Australia, if you want to buy oil, if you're in India, if you want to buy oil, you have to purchase that in dollars. So you have to trade your native currency into dollars to purchase oil. And this is why the dollar is so in demand. This is why the dollar is the reserve world currency. This is why all money is pegged to the dollar, because the dollar pretty much is the universal currency of the world. And what's going on with China right now is that China has invented something called the petro yuan. And this is basically a item where they will trade oil futures, and oil will be purchased in yuan. And this is something new that they've done. They implemented it last year, and the yuan will be able to be converted to gold. So the petro yuan is now challenging the American dollar, the petrodollar, so to speak. And naturally, China has more upside than downside in their economy. They may have a weak year or two as far as their economy, but overall, they have more growth that's forecasted in their economy that I can think of than the U.S. does. So I'm saying that to say this is that the mainstream media, they're not really talking about what's going on and how this trade war that Trump has launched against China, how it's really going to hurt America, and it's really going to speed up America's financial disaster that's heading our way. It's just going to speed it up. It's not going to help it. And the problem is that this time the dollar is getting weaker, and I think we're going to see a lot of, I guess in the coming years, they're saying a lot of inflation. But a lot of people who have money in Wall Street, money in stocks, money in bonds, I mean, that's not the average American, but from upper middle class, they're going to get wiped out. Those people who didn't take their money out already, they're going to get wiped out. And I'm just making a prediction here, and obviously it could be wrong, but I don't think that there's any way that Trump is going to walk out of office without a financial disaster happening on his watch. I just don't think it's going to happen. And it's going to be up to the next president to come in there and clean it up. So I think I'm making a prediction that something's going to happen. A major crash of our economy is going to happen sometime in the end of Trump's tenure. Sometime late to mid 2020. That's just what I see. So that's what we're looking at, and you don't see mainstream media talking about this at all. They don't talk about this. You don't hear them talking about this disaster that we may be looking at. So I just think it's I think it's really it's unfortunate that our news is just playing stuff that really has nothing to do with anything. It's just almost like political theater that you see on these news stations, and they're not warning people what is going on. Today, I looked at an article. There was a hedge fund manager, one of the largest hedge funds in the world, and he basically was saying that there's trouble ahead for the world economy, not just the U.S. economy, but the world economy. There's trouble ahead, and again, this is not something that you're hearing, and we should be hearing. I think people should be preparing for what could possibly be coming sooner than we think. And a lot of people may still be spending like there's no tomorrow. They're not putting away money. They're not planning for what's going to happen. They're not planning for job losses. They're not planning for these things. And we should be. We've been lulled to sleep by all this stuff that's on TV and what we see and hear, but it's not the truth, you know. So we need to be preparing for that and thinking about these things and doing our own research and thinking for ourselves independently. I just think that with as much as we have going on in America today, I think that if we were to see a major crash in our economy, we would see a lot of job loss, and I would start to think that it would be the beginning of the end for the American dollar dominance. It would be. I'm not going to say it would crash overnight, but I think it would be the beginning of the end. You start to see over the years how the dollars would lose more and more purchasing power. So probably a lot of people would start to hedge that with gold. But these things are happening, and I encourage you to do your homework, look, read, see what's going on out there, and leave a comment below if you want to kind of challenge what I'm saying, or if you agree, let me know what you're thinking. All right, peace.